We're having a ball in the Hamptons today.
Luann, the Countess, and a real housewife of New York City. How would you make New York a greener apple?
I would make New York a greener apple by, I guess, riding my bike more and using less bottled water and walking more. Riding my bike, walking more instead of, that's the great thing about New York is you can walk to places so you don't have to use cars to get around. So that would be my contribution to making it greener.
Influence people to exercise more and treat their bodies a lot better by eating organic foods.
How to make New York a greener apple? I'd plug it into the sun.
By getting rid of all of the cabs.
I would put plants on every rooftop.
How would you make New York a greener apple?
Beat a green M&Ms.
That's really a quiz question. I'm sorry. Ask Nancy Roberts.
Nancy, how would you make New York a greener apple?
How would I make New York a greener apple? I'd make people clean up their trash. That's what I would do.
I mean, I think it's always up to personal responsibility, how you feel about your own life and what you want to do. It's, people can always make a little bit of a difference without, really overextending themselves. They can actually make personal choices about the way they live. Make things a little nicer, make the air smell a little better.
Everyone who's working out, who's like pedaling and doing all that stuff, they can plug it into regenerators very easily. They actually have them invented, they already exist, they should be mandatory in all those gyms. Everyone's running all the time, get some energy out of it.
How would you make New York a greener apple?
I would make Dean and DeLuca use wax paper to wrap their sandwiches and not styrofoam containers.
Anything from stricter building codes to stronger reuse projects.
Communal bicycles. I'd get rid of the video cameras. Oh.
A greener apple? Or art?
Oh, an interesting question. Less cars?
Well, I would have more walkways and bike lanes. That's what I would do.
Get wind power, absolutely. And the sad part is that all the elevated people in the Hamptons don't have one single wind turbine out here, except for the college campus of Southampton. Wind turbines are essential.
How would you, this wonderful photographer photographing New York all your life, how would you make New York a greener apple?
Greener apple? I like red apples, personally.
A good question I have to think about. My head is into my art, not about New York. Oh, most likely have more parks.
Paint it green.
How would I make New York a greener apple? More focus on sustainable development, more education, especially in young people, because I think education is the key to the future. And incorporate an education on sustainability and the environment into the school system. That's mandatory. Recycle better.
Save electricity, reuse plastic bags.
No, I guess I'd have all the buildings have gardens on top.
I would have more transportation for bicycles. I ride my bike around New York. Obviously recycle.
Come on. How would you make New York a greener apple? You're wearing green.
How would I make it greener? Stop using water bottles. It's hers.
I would paint it more green.
More nutrients. More love.
He's an artist. I'm just a simple dealer, and he's an artist.
Make New York a greener apple. Artwork, for sure.
I would introduce more Teslas, of course. Zero emissions, so there's no city-based emissions at all, and even when you calculate it in your electricity production, it's still more efficient.
Well, first and foremost, I think the mayor's doing a great job of making it better, but you have to deal with exhaust from cars and buses and limit the amount of cars that come into Manhattan. Garbage, what are you going to do with the garbage? Where are you going to put it? How are you going to deal with addressing it in a green kind of way? Start with that.
Let's take all the cars out of New York City and line it all with art galleries, and that's what we need.
Rolling through the Hamptons today in the hot sun, yeah.